Hello and welcome to the Fitness Professor. Today we are discussing whether the muscle length tension relationship has anything to do with muscle hypertrophy, or more specifically, whether the angle in the hip joint has anything to do with hypertrophy in the quadriceps muscle. Yes, a new study published here in the preprint, the effects of hip flexion angle on rectus femoris muscle hypertrophy in the leg extension exercise. Exciting topic, if you ask me. So they indeed thoroughly investigated whether the angle in the hip joint, whether I sit very straight at 90 degrees or lean back lazily with a 40-degree hip angle, makes a significant difference in hypertrophy, specifically in the quadriceps. So first of all, this topic, sitting straight, not sitting straight, has been around in the gym for a long time. When using the leg extension machine, it probably doesn't matter from a health perspective whether I sit straight or not. Probably, definitely. I often see that many trainers place a lot of emphasis on whether you are really sitting close to the pad and sitting very straight. But ultimately, the force transmission that occurs there is transferred through the thigh to the seat cushion, and therefore there is no load on the spine. And that's important at first, because otherwise everyone would ask, wait a minute, isn't it unhealthy to sit so lazily leaned back? No, it is not. What it's really about, of course, is whether I can target the quadriceps muscle, which is a two-joint muscle. A specific part of it, the so-called rectus femoris, which also runs over the hip joint, whether I can involve it more strongly through the change in the hip joint. And this was done here with 22 young, untrained individuals. One group sat upright, while the other group leaned back significantly with a 40-degree angle in the hip. They did this for 10 weeks, starting with a small adaptation phase, working with slightly 15 to 20 repetitions. The vastus lateralis and the rectus femoris were measured using an ultrasound. Here it is illustrated graphically once again. Yes, and they always trained extremely rigorously and consistently until muscle fatigue. Yes, now the exciting question, has anything changed? And indeed, something has changed. Here you can see it in the table. If you look at the first two at the top, the rectus femoris situation measured once proximally and once distally. Here we see clearly significant differences in the delta percent comparison value compared to the baseline and the post-test, as well as to the delta comparison in the 90-degree situation. And also, so yes, regarding the rectus femoris, we see a significant change. We can also see this in this other nice illustration. The top two overlap quite a bit. That's the vastus lateralis, where there were no significant differences. But with the rectus femoris, both proximally and distally, there were clear differences. So yes, one has to say it seems to work. Including this muscle length tension relationship in the discussion of hypertrophy seems to make sense, but it's just one study for now. One should not overestimate this. Many more studies need to be conducted, hopefully with many research teams worldwide. Feel free to get in touch with me about it. Then we could please consider further discussing multi-center studies. And to summarize, after these 10 weeks of training, everyone definitely experienced muscle hypertrophy, of course. It's clear that the muscle grows a bit more when you train it slightly. However, in this 40-degree variant, in this laid-back, comfortably reclined situation, you can truly relax and unwind. And there was no difference here between distal and proximal in the vastus lateralis muscle, specifically in this carefully controlled study, or generally in the vastus lateralis muscle between the different conditions, which was methodically observed. Maybe just a quick note at the very end, these were completely untrained individuals, so we definitely need to look at how it is with fully trained individuals as well. It's probably similar, but that's really just a guess, and we definitely rely on facts. So we need to investigate that. Have fun training,